So now we're on to Penny's 8th session, and she's hopped into the trailer, and I'm gonna start messing with the divider today. So she's got all her prerequisites down. I think she's all set. I'm gonna do a little bit of a review, and just make sure she's cool with me coming out of the trailer. She's fine with staying in there. She gets reinforced for that, and it's just the same old, and then we'll start adding in some new stuff. So I can see my hand here. I'm feeding her from the front, just like I was in that last session. Come all the way out of the trailer and then fed her up front. This is really the first time that she's kind of looked around, but she's deciding that she's fine with staying right there. She didn't really seem like she was too worried with that. She was just kind of looking, and then she comes right back to me. So I don't know if she was just looking for, like, while I was feeding her, but she comes right up and she targets, and she does it on her own while I'm walking around the trailer. So that looks really great. She's making great choices, and that's a huge part of pretty much all training, but specifically this. I want her to make that choice on her own. So I'm going to start with just a little tiny bit with that divider, and as the divider is moving, I'm going to click and then put it back and reinforce. So I've already unclipped it, and just so I can kind of mess with it a little bit easier, but you might have to just kind of reinforce that as well. So you got to really be watching the horse's body language. Unfortunately, from this angle, you really can't see too much. But if the horse gets worried at all, put the divider back. If they need to back out, that's totally fine. You don't want to try to trap them in there, but just kind of watch that body language. So just kind of moving it there. She looks pretty much the same. So I'm going to click and then feed. So same kind of thing. I probably would have gone again slower if I was doing this again today. So move the divider like an inch, click feed. Do that a couple times, 2 inches, click feed. I'm just moving it a little bit faster than I would now. So, but for her, I mean, I guess she looks pretty decent. Like, you can, kind of skip ahead a little bit if your horse is pretty solid or showing you the signs that they're okay. But I would just make sure that the horse doesn't have any signs that he's worried, he's not being tense, and that looks great. She's actually lowering her head there, as I move the divider, so I'm gonna click and feed that. You can see a little bit better from this angle, even though it's a little bit dark, but I'm giving her a little jackpot there. That looks perfect. So once her head is like straight and she's like in that targeting position, then I'll go ahead and move the divider a little bit. When she remains relaxed, I'm going to click and feed. She's in that correct position. I'm going to move it. She's fine. Click, and then I'll move the divider back and go ahead and feed. And it's going to be like that for a while, just repetitive, getting her used to the divider moving closer and closer, closer. Then I'm going to have it up, actually touching her, getting next to her hindquarters and like having it touch her, because that's going to be another step, and then actually latching it. And then I'm gonna, or getting to the point where you're latching it, because like this one specifically is kind of loud, so I'm gonna be messing with the latch and then actually latching it for a second, unlatching it, and then again building up the amount of time she can stand in there while it is latched. So that's kind of like a quick run through of the process. But it's not going to be, that whole process is not going to be done in like one session. Definitely not, because I'm just going to be messing with just her standing there. And then I want to make sure she can come out. I don't do that for too long. I don't want her to feel trapped or anything. She can back out, and she's still willing to back off calmly and get back in calmly. And I want to really just test like where she is mentally and make sure that this isn't too much for her. She's kind of looking back. There might be something going on in the arena behind us. I don't know. But she seems nice and relaxed. She goes ahead and backs off halfway. She stops, and then I cue her to go the rest of the way. Just like normal, her normal routine, because I don't want her flying off the trailer. I want her going nice and slow. That looks great. And I've cued her to go back in. I just ask her to target, and I kind of point up. She sends in on her own. She even straightens herself out. That looks really good. Perfect. Just kind of leaving that one hind foot, that left hind foot with the little white sock. And I just ask her there with my hand cue. Don't even have to touch her, and she steps right over it. I reinforce her for that. So pretty solid there. If your horse is consistently doing that, I would make sure that they're comfortable standing in there and they don't feel like claustrophobic when they're up against the wall, because it's probably them kind of being a little bit guarded. I love that when I went to shut the divider or move the divider, she stepped up on her own, so that's perfect. Because I kind of want that built in. Like if she was kind of out of position, I could either give her my hand cue, or I could kind of start to shut the divider and she'll kind of step up and let me shut it. So that would be perfect. And then again, you can see I'm just progressively getting closer and closer and closer to shutting it, all while making sure that she's remaining relaxed. I'm doing this in a nice slow way. I don't want to rush it.
Good girl.
You want to just do it just like you would trailer her if she was 20 years old and been hauled her whole life. Just a regular way. I don't want to rush. I don't want to sneak around her either, though. I just want to do it in a normal way. So I'm going to let her chew her food a little bit, and I'm just going to wait. Make sure she's nice and relaxed. Then I'll go ahead and kind of move it a little bit more. Paying attention to her head and how she's feeling about this. So that looks really, really great. Give her a little bit of a jackpot here. I want to make this super reinforcing. This is like the best thing in the world. You get all the rewards. Like being in the trailer is wonderful, fantastic, the best thing. Ask her to back off. She backs off really nicely. I love how she hugs this wall and just goes nice and slow. She's checking in with me. Oh, that's just perfect. And she can look behind her, that's totally fine. I give her that minute and I'll ask her to back out the rest of the way. And that looks great.